Every
Yeah, and
time I
plus
hear
you're
about
gonna
these,
have if Nintendo goes too nuts with it and says, hey, you know what we're gonna do? You're gonna be like Xbox Live and pay to play multiplayer.
Yeah,
There's gonna be third parties that bail out because they don't
probably.
know if Nintendo can do fucking multiplayer
Yeah.
yeah,
and
and I
make
think
it as good as Xbox Live.
yeah, that's the scary part about that is that when you get that kind of, that's right, they haven't earned the right at this point to make me pay for any online service. Because you know what? As far as I'm concerned, they never got in with the rest of the systems in this generation. They're practically what the PS2 was when it was going on. That's exactly where they're still at.
That's true. That's a very good way of putting it. I just what I'm wondering though is how we're talking about this, price point that they're going to have to come to that is still considered, like valid, I guess, in the eyes of the consumer of the system itself, without taking too much of a loss. But they're probably going to have to take a loss from the price point that they select. So I'm thinking that they might be backed into a corner in the sense that they might have to start charging for online services just to make up for that loss, or they'll just take the loss like a bitch. I have no
I
idea.
mean, they have to because honestly, they
Yeah.
can't possibly justify in their heads thinking that they're gonna get a bunch of people right on board to pay
playing
for
online
service right.
Yeah,
They can't.
I
do
agree.
It.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that they can't. But I'm just wondering if they're like going to delude themselves into thinking they can. It is.
I hope so, because then Nintendo's just gonna bail out of the race like 6 months in, because no one's gonna be with their
Probably.
service, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
see
it'll be
a
another
new Xbox, and they're
GameCube,
just gonna
dude.
lose.
Yeah. Well, I think
Well,
we are
and let's
looking at-
remember who we're talking about, though, Alex. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking about them charging for an online service and taking a loss.
instead of
Nintendo,
taking a loss.
yeah, instead of taking a loss, Nintendo doesn't. I mean, we talked about it at the top of this conversation. We said, they're probably not going to give a release date or a price point. They don't do that. So they could sit there. They could show the Wii U. We might not see it for a year and a half, 2 years.
Nah.
I could totally
can't-
see Nintendo pushing that shit back.
Yeah, I mean, if they think that they could still sell the same amount, like closer to the release of the PlayStation 4/Xbox 720, then they will do that. But I mean, everybody seems convinced at this point that the Wii U is going to be released this fall.
This
In
year,
fact,
this
actually,
holiday season.
In fact, I actually I was listening to another podcast. It was actually
What?
yeah, I know. I'm
How
cheating on
dare
you guys.
you?
But no, they were this guy was talking about how he's editor in chief over at Game Trailers actually, and he was talking about how when he was at Judges Week, he was talking to somebody. He wasn't able to name the game, but he said that based on the fact that the guy was talking about developing a game for the Wii U, and based on when that game when that game was set for release, that there's no way the Wii U won't come out this year at some point this fall. So,
Okay, now
which, I mean,
here's-
they can still push it
let's say-
back. They can still push it back, but
No.
don't think
I
they
mean,
will,
let's.
based on that.
This is what I'm thinking will happen because this is kind of what happened with the 3DS. So the Wii U's ready. It's about to go into mass production. They're going to get it into stores for holiday season. It launches with maybe one key franchise game. Maybe a Zelda, maybe a Mario, maybe a Kirby. Probably not a Mario or a Zelda. I'm thinking it'll be like Kirby or some other bullshit.
Or Luigi's
like, I don't
Mansion
know.
2. Oh wait,
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion
that's actually
2.
coming. That's coming to 3DS, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, there's something along those lines. You know what I'm saying? A new Yoshi game, a new Donkey Kong Country, whatever.
and then we have
So
a new
you get
GameCube,
that,
like you're saying.
and the rest of the lineup is made up of third party. But here's what I'm thinking: a lot of those third party games will have already released on other consoles. Some of them will probably be a year old.
I could see that, like
yeah.
Resident Evil 5 for the
Yeah,
Wii U.
exactly.
Shit like
Yeah.
that, they could totally see them doing that.
Oh yeah. Like
And
sort
that
of-
would be not good. They
No, because
need
they would
hype.
start
They need
charging for
excitement.
old games.
Yeah.
they would start charging full for old games because they're not going. I mean, Wii U games are going to be $60. We can probably assume that, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
they'll be
imagine
$60.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we'll
So,
see
I mean-
if they do bring these year-old games over and are charging full retail and saying, "Oh, well,
that
you
would
get
be
Wii U functionality."
monumentally,
That would be dumb.
monumentally retarded.
Yeah.
that just
But
nobody
that's where
would get
that's
them.
where they're going to have to make their money back up, because the initial systems, if they want to play like a big boy, and that's exactly what they'd be doing if they want to lose money at a launch, they're going to play like the big boy. They need to take a loss on their system and
They
make
do.
up the money back in software, and that's what they're going to do. They might. It's probably
Well, why?
spot
They didn't
on.
have to do that with the Wii.
But now they're not playing the same game. They're not
No, they're
playing
not.
we have the party system anymore. We're not doing the
Yeah, they are kind of trying to recapture that core
they're
gamer.
Not, yeah, they're not playing the, oh, look at our system, it's so nice, and it reminds you of how you used to be a kid, and these controls are so basic and simple. No, they're going full on with this. If they're releasing a $450 system, they're playing big boy ball. They need to fucking...
I love when you say that.
Big boy, I love it.
I know, I love when you say that.
Makes me feel like a big boy.
So they're gonna release. I would totally see them pre-populating their launch titles with pre-released games already that have been out in other consoles, selling them at full retail so they can make up some cash.
Yeah, and I found myself thinking about this ever since last year's E3 when we first found out about the Wii U, because it's clear they're trying to not only recapture the core audience, us, if you will, they're also trying to maintain. I mean, look at the ad that the video they used last year where it showed families playing it. They're trying to maintain the Wii audience that they have already while still capturing our hearts. And I honestly can't imagine them being able to do it. I mean, I really can't think of a world where that would happen.
Well,
they can
here's
only
the
go one way or
thing.
the other.
Here's the thing, and we're gonna put a cap in this Nintendo discussion so we can move on here. But I don't think that they are trying to maintain that Wii audience. I think that they have to recapture that Wii audience. Because the Wii, a lot of Wiis, a lot of that casual audience just went poof. A lot of Wiis are collecting dust. You know, people bought it to try out the motion control, got bored with it in a month, never bought another game. And it's collecting dust in their entertainment center, even if it's still there. You know, maybe it's boxed up somewhere. They moved it to the guest room or the den or whatever. You know, it's no longer a fixture in the living room, except for that hardcore Nintendo audience. I think that they need to recapture that imagination that that casual audience, and you know, by putting a little intrigue into the Wii U. And that's why I think Nintendo's press conference probably has the biggest question mark on it, and is what I'm most excited for, because it does. It is the biggest mystery of the show. Like, how are they going to angle this to not only kind of recapture that casual audience that they once had that's no longer there, and you know, focus on getting the chunk of that core gaming audience back that left because they were like, okay, Nintendo games are great, but I also want to play Call of Duty.
And actually, you know, not get insulted by how bad it looks.
Right.
Unless you're Scotty D.
Well, Scotty D said the Call of Duty 4 worked fantastic on the Wii, but
it's not that it
I don't know if
he's
played it on the PlayStation 3. It's a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, but you guys want to talk some Star Wars 1313? Because this is my other big mystery, my big question mark for the show.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so we got Star Wars 1313 announcement from Game Trailers on Thursday night. We actually tried to do a show that night, but it didn't work out. Mumble destroyed the fucking recording, so whatever. But brand new Star Wars IP, brand new setting. It's going to be dealing with the Coruscant Underground, the criminal underground.
Level 1313. It's I believe.
Yeah,
1,000.
brand new characters. Yeah. It looks like it doesn't take place in the prequel time setting, which I love. The one real good piece of art that they gave us for 1313 displays an Imperial shuttle with 2 TIE fighters behind it. Now that either puts it in line with A New Hope's time, like right before A New Hope, or directly after A New Hope, or sometime in the original trilogy, maybe even post trilogy. Which would be awesome.
Oh, man. Unless, and Nate, you probably are a little better. I mean, you and I, as we demonstrated in our live show, are both major Star Wars nerds. Joe, I'm assuming you're a nerd too, right?
Sure.
Are you all tight with the EU?
I'm familiar with the expanded universe. I know my Dark Empire.
Okay, see, I love my Dark Empire too. But here's my question. I just thought of a fantastic idea, Nate, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you ever find out who the bounty hunter that Han Solo references in Empire Strikes Back that they ran into on Ord Mantell was? Do you ever find out who that was?
I don't remember.
See, if you don't, what if you are that bounty hunter in this game and that scene plays out? That would be fucking awesome.
That would be amazing. And that would be a fantastic way to work familiar faces into the game, which is another thing that we have to see. I feel like, okay, this Paul Meekin guy, he came into LucasArts, he cleaned house. He said, we're canceling all these shit games that you guys are doing. You're putting out crap, and I'm tired of it. And he cracked the whip, and he kicked Hayden Blackman right in the fucking nuts, and then threw him out on his ass. I wish that was the way it happened, but it
I was
didn't.
gonna say, didn't Hayden Blackman like walk out right before the
Yeah,
clearinghouse
he
happened?
he was a rat jumping off a sinking ship, but whatever. Anyways, so Paul Meekin comes in and he just bitch slaps people. He says, we're making good Star Wars games again, and none of this prequel shit. And we're fucking gonna make a game that reintroduces the characters that people love that haven't been destroyed by George Lucas. That would be a fantastic way to do it. Bring in Han, bring in Lando, bring in Jabba, bring in fucking Boba Fett, bring in IG-88. Let's see them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bounty
and if
Hunter.
this game
Before he
doesn't have
became
a
a
single
bitch.
fucking Jedi in it, more the better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's a... but
Except
we
for Vader. It would be
Yeah.
awesome if we got to fight Vader.
Or if we got to like work for Vader, that'd be cool too.
Oh, God. He'd be like, no disintegrations. I'd
Yeah.
be like, yes!
I'm totally
Yes, disintegration.
disintegrating.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I know we were talking about this on the special, the ill-fated special. That this sounds like what they're doing is they're going to be. This is like the sort of first tie-in to that new Star Wars live-action TV series called Underworld, tentatively called Underworld, which, you know, we don't really have any information on that, but based on like what we know about the new Star Wars TV series, this sounds very much in line with it. So, to be honest, I'm thinking the question of it taking place before Episode 4, between Episode 3 and 4, is a little bit more likely, with that in mind.
I hope not. And, you know, even if it does take place before Episode 4, there's no reason why we can't see those characters that we love.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying
Because
that.
they were bouncing around the universe
Oh.
or the galaxy a long time before
Oh,
Luke
of
ever
course.
fucking showed
Yeah,
up.
No, I'm not saying that we were not going to see them that way. I think it'd be really great to see a sort of young Han Solo involved in this in some way. Yeah, I totally am with you on that. Because, you know...
Yeah, and
thinking-
you know what? If you're going to give us Jedi, give us new Jedi. Give us
Yeah,
Jedi
yeah.
we haven't met before.
But you
And
know
not-
what?
You know,
You gotta,
an
you
interesting
gotta,
Jedi.
You gotta
Yeah.
save that shit too. Like no offense to the Star Wars universe, dude. There's so much beyond the Jedi I don't need to deal with. When I saw like
Yeah.
the first I don't know, like the Old Republic to the new that fucking MMO. Remind me what the hell that thing's called?
Are you
Star Wars
serious?
MMO.
Are you
The Old
serious right
Republic?
Old Republic. Thank you. I was like, I don't even know what that is anymore. It's totally off my radar.
now? I thought
As
you
soon
were
as I saw
kidding
the-
for a second.
No, I just have no idea what it was. I was like,
Wow,
Old Republic?
okay.
Sure, that's it. When I first saw that trailer, and it's just everyone's a fucking Jedi. Everyone is a Jedi. It's not cool
yeah.
anymore. You gotta
It isn't.
save the Jedi. Like, so if we run into 1 or 2 in this game, sure, great. But save them. Make them badass.
Yeah.
Make them something that kicks the shit out of you, and you actually have to work at to beat.
See,
I totally
uh,
want
Yeah,
to
and
get
that's
this bounty hunter
that is
universe.
absolutely the way it should be, because in this time period, there were no Jedi.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and I brought this up also that and Nate, you said you never played it. Joe, remind me, did you play Star Wars Bounty Hunter a couple years? Oh, it was like 10 years ago.
Dude, I played it for like 5 minutes. That game was so fucking balls. I don't care what you say. It was terrible.
Okay, well, anyway, point is that game handled the usage of Jedi well because you never see a fucking Jedi until the very end when you have to take one down, and you, as you said, Joe, you had to fucking work to do it. I mean, it was I freaking loved the storyline of Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I do think that the execution of it in many ways was balls, Nate. I agree with you. Way too difficult, way too frustrating. This game has the potential, probably will end up doing it
I'm
right
here
gameplay-wise. I
inside
mean, the
Nintendo
sort of
headquarters
over-the-shoulder,
in Kyoto,
third-person perspective they talked about in the interview.
Conference room, which
Just it's
as
so
you can
proven
see,
at this point. It's kind of hard to
is
imagine them
rather
fucking it up.
plainly furnished.
Yeah, I
What
imagine
the
like
fuck is going on?
There is something
you talking about?
I'm
here
getting weird ass audio from somewhere.
so you're getting
I don't
noise.
know where it's coming from.
Windows 2.
The Force.
Oh, it's the Wii U press conference. It went live.
Okay, I was gonna say the midi-chlorians in the air.
No, dude, I heard some like weird little Japanese voice in the back of my headphones, and it's going out over the live stream. And I was like, "Where's that fucking coming from?" And it's the
Fantastic.
Nintendo press conference. It went live.
Okay.
I'm not actually. I'm just pausing it. I'm not going to try to live stream it. Fuck it. It would
Yeah.
just crash everything. But back onto Star Wars 1313. I've got a lot of hope for this game. I think
too.
this is the
I do
right
hope.
direction for the franchise to go in, for LucasArts, the video game division, to go in. I absolutely agree that we shouldn't see Jedi. We should only see people that have ties to that criminal underground that we've seen in Jedi, in the EU, even somewhat in the prequels. I think that would be fantastic. I just hope that Lucas has no input, man.
he has
If he's
final
got
say.
input, we're doomed. If
He's
got input, we're doomed.
He's gonna try to shoehorn Anakin into there somewhere somehow.
Oh,
like,
Alex.
I'm just saying. Let's be fair here. Lucas has input on everything Star Wars. We know this now. He's going to do that.
No, he'll if anything, he'll shoehorn like
A kid.
Ewok.